to my channel. My name is Gregoria, also known as G. I'm a spiritual teacher and mindset coach, and here to deliver uplifting, positive content, anything that will raise your vibration, all things mysticism, esoteric, spiritual in nature, connected to the laws of the universe, and all the things in between. So this is a video I had not planned, but my beautiful marketing manager, Kat, was sending me an email and she said, G, you need to create a video talking about your story and how you basically got into spirituality. So I thought, you know what, for those who are new to this channel or new to my platforms or who may not have been exposed to any of my content before, you may not necessarily know what my journey consisted of. So I'm going to make it short and sweet, but I want you to know how it evolved for me. So I've been raised in a very open household. My dad is quite spiritual in the sense of connected to religion and aliens and theoretical spirituality, right? And he meditates often and can talk to Jesus and Archangel Gabriel, and he's had all of these really mystic experiences. My mum, on the other hand, is more of a woo-woo. Loves her cards and her crystals and her essential oils, and you know, she's like your hippie, that kind of woman. You wouldn't be able to tell from looking at her, but she's that sort of fairy energy. So put them together and you have me. I am a self-proclaimed woo-woo. I'm very much into the cards and the crystals and the sage and, you know, the natural remedies and medicines. And I'm also very into deep spiritual practices, meditation, hypnosis, understanding things beyond our conscious understanding, things like aliens. I'm a complete believer in aliens. I actually have zero doubt. I've had plenty alien encounters myself. That's a story for another time. And have heard firsthand accounts of other people who have had alien experiences. I believe in all the mystical beings, the fairies, the unicorns, the dragons, all the things in between. And I also really enjoy things like quantum physics and the quantum field, and also mystic practices like witchcraft and wizardry and magic and all of those things, right? And that's because I was brought up in a house where I could freely explore those worlds. Was I also brought up in a house that had identified with religion? Absolutely. I was brought up Greek Orthodox. It was never something that was imposed on me. I was allowed to practice it in which way I desired, and I learned a lot from my connection to orthodoxy and what it taught me about Jesus and Christ consciousness and all of those things. It naturally evolved for me. I've always been very open to this, and I think I was about 7 years old when I wrote my dad a letter, maybe a bit older, maybe 9 years old, where I wrote my dad a letter that said, "Dear Dad, I have magical powers just like you." And it wasn't until years later where I found this letter and I was like blown away. And it was because it wasn't until I entered the personal development world that I knew that there was terminology attached to all the things I was feeling and experiencing as a child. For me, it was just magical powers. I could think things and then create them. I could, you know, like see things and I could feel things and all of these things, but I didn't know that there were words attached to it. I didn't even know that there was a community that identified as spiritual per se, or New Age spirituality, but that incorporated a lot of Eastern philosophies as well. Having this exposure allowed my spiritual connection to organically evolve. I never had to think much about it. Whatever deeper lesson I needed to learn just manifested in my experience, and I got to go a level deeper, a level deeper. It wasn't until around 2011 when my dad was diagnosed with brain cancer that my spiritual awakening per se had sped up exponentially. I had always been spiritual and been teaching people about that spiritual connection, but it's when I witnessed my dad basically go from coma, where he flatlined, he was in an induced coma, and who he was past that experience. He started speaking in tongues. He wasn't of this world. He was still very much in a space place. And I spoke to God and I was like, God, make a choice. He's either here, fully present with us in the three-dimensional, or he's there. You need to make a choice. I want my dad back. And if he's not supposed to be back, then take him. And within, I think it was about 48 hours, he was fully conscious again, completely aware. And that's when my connection to God really heightened. And when I refer to God, I mean God, universe, angels, source, energy, infinite intelligence, whatever your truth is, it really doesn't matter. You don't get wet by the word water, okay? So it is one energy source, and how you interpret that one energy source is completely up to you, or whether you choose not to interpret it at all. It really doesn't matter. I refer to God as God. Do I think that that's a man in the sky telling me what to do? No. Do I think that it's infinite love? Absolutely. Okay. So my connection to God really deepened and strengthened. And I was like, well, I like this. I really like being able to talk to God directly. Let me explore this further. And then courses and books and documentaries and teachings and teachers just naturally fell into my lap. And that is because of the laws of the universe, one being the law of attraction. I was focused on it now. It was in my field of awareness. It was something that I wanted to draw into my experience. And naturally, I attracted those experiences. And years later, I am now a spiritual teacher. I am a veteran in spiritual practices and all things spiritual, really, and diverse spirituality, not just New Age spirituality. I also explore ancient theories and perspectives, as well as very modern theories and perspectives, and how it has evolved over time. Now, the one thing I would say to you is that my spirituality is not fixed. I don't have a belief that I carry through my entire life, because beliefs are a form of confinement. If I have a fixed belief, then I am limited to the perspective of that belief alone, right? Instead, I explore everything with an open mind. Maybe this can teach me something different. Because if I wasn't willing to explore something different than my current belief system, then I would never grow. I would never expand. Everything would be through the lens. It would literally be a rose filter. Everything that I already believe and have been conditioned, that's my new projection. So I will be attracting more of that experience. Instead, I'm very open to learning new perspectives. And I think that's why my spiritual experience has evolved in the way that it has. And I've been able to absorb so much information because I don't resist anything. I tap in and channel God all the time. And when I do that, I hear things that I'm just like, nah. My conscious mind, my ego would be like, hell nah. But the part of me that's connected to source, that knows that infinite intelligence is being fed through me all the time, is like, just listen, G. Just explore it. Just maybe what you currently believe isn't necessarily the truth. Or not even that. Maybe this new perspective is more aligned with the ultimate truth, because there is one ultimate truth which none of us know. Each of us are just trying to interpret that ultimate truth. And through our interpretation, we're creating layers of the truth. Okay, so put us all together and we make up the ultimate truth, but then there's all this other crap that needs to dissolve in order for us to actually understand that ultimate truth, which none of us will know in this conscious physical state. We will only fully know when we've reverted back to spirit beings, which we still are, and that's what's feeding me all of this information when I do channel. It's the part of me that offers no resistance. God is the part of me that offers no resistance, and that's why I get all of this incredible information. And again, when I'm interpreting energy into words, there's going to be misinterpretation, okay? It's like when I'm trying to translate a French film. If I only know a little bit of French, even if I know a lot of French, not all words translate exactly the same. So imagine me trying to translate energy. It's not always going to be interpreted in the right way. So that's why we have all of these people who are very connected, who offer no resistance, but still interpret things in different ways, because it's also from my level of understanding in this conscious state, how I can articulate it in the best possible way. So in order for you, I know for a lot of you who are here and be like, that's great, G, but how do I strengthen my awakening? How do I connect more with source? You surrender to it. Meditation is everything. Be willing to hear a perspective other than the one that you already believe. Be willing to open your mind. There is one truth. I'm going to contradict something I said earlier. There is one belief that I hold as absolute truth, and that is that I am of love. I am of love, and to love I shall return, and my journey here is an expression of that love. My purpose is to expand that love, to know myself more, to understand myself more, to expand more of what I am. And as I expand, the entire universe expands with me. But how I do that, I'm completely open to. I'm always open to learning more things. So be open, explore, be curious, be a kid when it comes to learning about spirituality and what that means for you. Spirituality, honestly, as a term and how I refer to it, is just believing or understanding that there is something beyond the physical three-dimensional experience. What that experience is open to interpretation, whatever you decide it is. But it's just having a deeper understanding of energy as never-ending, energy as omnipresent, energy as always having been here and always will be here. So meditate more often, soften your resistance, explore, listen to new teachers and new perspectives. And the way that you can know whether it feels like truth to you or not is, what's that gut feeling telling you? What is your intuition telling you? Your intuition will naturally be heightened by these experiences. So it's like you need one for the other, one for the other, one for the other. I'm having more spiritual experiences. That helps me heighten my intuition, and my heightened intuition allows me to know whether that spiritual experience feels like truth to me, and so on and so on and so on. Okay? Does that feel like truth? Like, for example, I had a friend the other day who offered me something to be part of this experience. And it sounds really great on paper. And even when I use my logical mind to think about it, I'm like, it's going to lead to so many opportunities. It's so perfect. You know, it's really good. It's going to really help my career. It's going to help the community, etc., etc., etc. But my gut was just saying no. My gut was like, don't do it, G. And my logical mind was trying to convince it otherwise. It was saying, but it's amazing. You know, you can showcase your talents and do these things. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to meditate on it. I meditated, and Big G, that's how I refer to God. Big G was like, nah, this isn't for you. It's not that it's not amazing. It's just not for you and not in alignment with you and your projected truth right now. So that's how you really strengthen that capability. You allow it to talk to you and you listen. Offer moments of silence, because if we're constantly chatting, we don't allow the higher self to feed information through us. Whereas if I surrender for even 5 minutes a day, I just give it an opportunity to talk to me and maybe hear it, because it's always talking to me. It's always feeding me information, but I just can't hear it. So if I silence for 5 minutes, I can maybe hear something. And it may not happen for months, but then one day I'll be like, ooh, I heard that. And it'll be just this intuitive nudge telling me to explore something, telling me to do a course, telling me not to do a course, telling me to read this book, open this page, meet this person, go out for that drink in which I naturally just meet the person sitting next to me, or whatever it is. So that's a little bit about my story. In regards to my dad, he's doing okay. He went through a lot, but he is the most positive person in the world. It taught me so much about life and death and my understanding of it and how it sits within me. And he's okay, still has cancer, but he's okay. He's okay. All is well. We are all on our path. I love you. I hope this was insightful. Thank you for being here and listening to this. If you want a little bit more of those high vibrations, I have a free Positivity Rampage. Links are in the description below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video if you know someone who wants to explore spirituality in a deeper way. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on next week's video.